Greetings and salutations, everyone. Welcome to the Christian Whistleblower Broadcast Podcast Central. Great times, great things happening. I'm coming to you live from an undisclosed location deep in the American heartland. We are under the radar, but always over the top. And today, no different. RH Negative Blood, Ascension Glossary, calling on the great work of Lisa Renee, who's been on a sabbatical with her husband. And Lisa Renee, whenever you get finished with that much needed rest, please let me know. I'd love to have you on this channel. Do I agree with everything Lisa Renee says? Probably not. But she has put together probably the most exhaustive, single, one-stop collection of Ascension data anywhere in the Ascension Glossary. RH Negative Blood. I don't get it. I don't know why everybody's so interested in it, but everybody is, and I'm here to serve. So I will be here to help you learn as much as I can show you about RH Negative Blood. I am your happy contrarian, Jeffrey Darty, the Christian Whistleblower. Glad to be with you. Please keep Rocky Stucci and I keep sending us your good juju as we roll out our nationally syndicated program. That's very exciting. Nationally syndicated program. Shut up and listen. Not sure if it's going to continue on YouTube or not, but we will be nationally syndicated by June 1st. We also have the cup of shut up, hot cup of shut up coffee rolling out as well, probably concurrent with the rollout of the new radio show. So here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Let's talk about RH Negative Blood. And let me show you what I'm reading from. Let me show you what I'm referring to, because, yo, Audrey, what's going on? I told Rocky yesterday, I was on Rocky's show last night, and he, the other Rocky has the hashtag of Yo Adrian. And I said, hey, Rocky, you should get the hashtag Yo Audrey. What's up? So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. What did Ransom just say? This should be a trip, but I need scientific data, which is oddly unavailable in his unusual lack of data. Ransom, have you looked? If you go on my website and search RH Negative, I did at least a 1 hour interview. It might have been longer, with a doctor. And it was a doctor's perspective on RH Negative Blood. So please check that out if you're looking for data and information. It was from a doctor. He wasn't trying to impress anybody, so check that out. Oddly enough, one of the most watched shows on my channel to date, which is crazy. I don't get it, but hey, everybody loves to talk about RH Negative Blood. Thank you, Kent, for loving the Not Your Normal Sunday show with Wayne. So an individual, as you can see here, Lisa Renee, is the author of the RH Negative, or of the Ascension Glossary. It was essentially downloaded to her. And I believe that Lisa Renee is a RH Negative. But she says an individual either has or doesn't have the rhesus factor on the surface of the red blood cells. The term strictly refers to the most immunogenic D antigen of the RH blood system, or the RH negative blood group system. The status is usually indicative by RH positive. RH positive does have the D antigen. So I feel like I'm out of the club because I'm O positive. So I do have that D antigen, while the RH negative folks, whom there are many of in the chat room, they don't have the D antigen at all. Jersey girl, if your screen is blurred, are you taking some funny drug, or have you cleaned your screen lately? Just wondering. So let's talk about RH Negative Blood, ladies and gentlemen, and let's talk about characteristics, and this will focus mainly on spiritual or esoteric aspects, I think. Lisa Marie is RH negative, and as such, she's had many, not necessarily as such, she is RH negative, period. And she has had many unusual experiences of ET contact, and she has the capacity to remote view the energetic blueprints of planet Earth, which is pretty interesting. She thinks that consciousness is energetic intelligence, which can be both undifferentiated units of and qualities of energy arranged in specific blueprints that direct or influence all matter forms. So she sees beyond science and into the esoteric, even for the construction, the basic construction of our planet and, of course, of our species as well. She feels like her higher sensories abilities were cultivated and trained by extraterrestrial family contact. See, that's hard for me. I'm so, normal. I'm so level-headed. I'm so empirical. I'm so objective. It's hard for me to get outside that box and start thinking about extraterrestrial family contact. And it gets even more, that's why I'd love to have her on. It gets even more interesting. She wasn't abducted, but she has been and was contacted to begin the re-education of the changes occurring to the planet during this end time. I think Ransom was just referring to changes in the planet, and she calls it the Ascension cycle. So very, very interesting stuff. She has received off-planet assisted communications, and she thinks that some of these things have to do with the relationship to the Rh negative bloodline, and she does emphasize that it's only her personal experience. She's not putting forth anything that she's going to say is, thank you, it is, objectivity is a must. And I find this fascinating. One of the things I pulled out of here, Rh negative blood, she says, is blood that's karmicless. There's no karmic debt carried by people with karmic-less blood. She thinks that for some reason, Rh negative blood, ladies and gentlemen, is free from what she calls the ancestral miasm. It's a psycho-spiritual inherited distortion caused by trauma, abuse, fear-based systems, and soul fragmentation, which over time gets genetically encoded in the human DNA. So those of us that don't have Rh negative blood, we can say that we are presumably born with karmic ancestral miasm, according to Lisa Renee. And this is interesting. As Tracy Dyer says, she believes the opposite. Tracy, you're so contrarian. I did some studies about the 144,000, which is another thing that I don't understand why people think is so fascinating. But they say 15% of the people in the world have Rh negative blood. It's actually more like 14.4% or 144,000. But don't get excited about that, because in my last video, I proved, I think, beyond a shadow of a doubt, at least speaking from the biblical text, that the 144,000 are the bad guys. And all guys, no girls, according to the text. And remember, the text doesn't care what you've been taught. The text doesn't care what you think. So Lisa Renee postulates that the Rh negative blood is sourced from the stars. Ergo, people with Rh negative blood are starseed people. Now, of course, starseed people are not limited to those that have Rh negative blood, but that's what she thinks. So do you have karmic-less blood as an Rh negative person? You're not carrying in any bad karma. You're not carrying in any karmic miasm from previous generations. And I wonder if Rh negative blood people tend to be less entangled with dominant, fear-based Abrahamic religion. That would be an interesting discussion. As I look through the chat room, probably at least, it's funny. I was thinking, I looked at how many are here and how many have said they're O negative. And it's right about 14.4, 15% of the people in the chat room saying that they are negative. Interesting. And if you're negative, are you less susceptible to the fear and guilt control matrix? Because all of you that are here, obviously, are probably less susceptible to the fear and guilt control matrix. And of course, the rest of us are as well. So we've probably done more work than y'all with Rh negative blood. You guys had it easy. I joke, of course. Hello, Jen Morris. Because they are less karmic, there's less karmic energetic imprints in blood. The higher spiritual energetic bodies of the Rh negative person have a tendency to function or operate at increased levels than in the majority of the human population. So she speculates that within the Rh negative community, you have a higher natural occurrence of telepathy, empathy, clairvoyance, clairaudience. Clairvoyance, talking to spirits, clairvoyant seeing spirits, clairaudience, talking to spirits, or having to do with spirits, spiritual communication, direct spiritual knowing, reading energies, ET contact, higher compassionate tendencies towards other humans of the earthly kingdoms. What do you think about that, folks? Are you that are Rh negative? Do you find yourself feeling more telepathic, more empathic? Do you have clairvoyance, clairaudience? Let me know. Jen Morris, Rh negative. Now, I know Jen Morris, and I know that she is telepathic. I know that she is empathic. I know that she has clairvoyance, clairaudience, direct spiritual knowing. Not sure about reading energies, not sure about ET contact. So that's interesting. Very, very interesting. And again, Lisa Renee says that the ETs are attempting to replicate DNA, and they tend to abduct more Rh negative people. I would love to see the empirical numbers on that. Now, I don't think Lisa would just throw that out, but I would love to see the empirical numbers. Ransom says that Georgia Guidestones, which I have been to, and I should bring that back out again. Here's a trippy thing. The Georgia Guidestone says that the population needs to be 500 million, which is 7% of 7.5 billion. The current population is 7% of the population in universal donors. That's interesting. That's interesting. Justin Empath says Jax, all blood is iron-based, not copper. Okay. I'm not sure what that has to do, but good stuff. Alana says she's very intuitive and highly empathic. Jenny says the universe speaks to her. Very, very interesting stuff. The negative alien agenda of digression of human consciousness on Earth started with the digression of angelic human blood, according to Lisa Renee, that led to the digression of human DNA. Wow, this is pretty interesting. This agenda begins in an insidious mind control program to place religion on Earth. See, I told you. To place religion on Earth and to create genetic discrimination and racial hatred based on a variety of factors designed to enslave and suppress human consciousness. I'll be talking later on today, I hope, about Christian truthers. You want to stay tuned for that one. It's going to be good stuff. I want to talk about the Christ parasite. Ooh, I said it out loud. And I want to talk about how to stop gossip permanently. Powerful stuff. And she also thinks that chemtrails, GMOs, vaccinations, pharmaceuticals, fluoride in the drinking water, nanotechnologies. Tell me that doesn't make you think about Rex when I say nanotechnologies. And a variety of other methodologies have been used to harm the human and the planetary nervous system and brain, creating soul damage, soul disconnection, and soul bodies that cannot activate higher DNA to free our blood from karmic control. Wow, that is powerful. So it sounds like in Lisa Renee's ideology, the folks with Rh negative already have the karmic free blood. And those of us that are Rh positive, we have to do a little more work. Maybe that's why it's taken me almost 40 years to get this even in the zip code of together. Very, very powerful stuff. The reptilian races do not want this phenomenon to occur, says Lisa Renee. And they are racing against what she calls the 100th monkey effect. Jen Morris does have a yes to the energy and yes to ET contact. Wow, that's fascinating. That's fascinating. Lisa talks about the NAA. What is that? The negative alien agenda, or the negative alien archon group. Interesting. The negative alien agenda is working against the 100th monkey phenomena in order to maintain their agenda of promoting a human slave race. Absolutely. Most reptilian races, say Lisa Renee, favor the corrupted Nephilim, those motivated by greed, money, and power who exist as half or more Anunnaki in their DNA. I knew that we couldn't get away from the Anunnaki, ladies and gentlemen. If Planet X shows up, I'm leaving. Just kidding. Very, very interesting stuff. Very, very interesting stuff. And she thinks that our primary function is the Nephilim reversal grid. We need to digress hybridization between the Oraphim and the Anunnaki. Wow, this is great stuff. Genetic digression is promoted to infect the blood with actions and behaviors that hold karmic consequence. So if you're Rh negative and you don't have any karmic consequences in your blood, they're going to try to get you into sexual distortions or the sexual misery program, which intentionally reverses, distorts, and manipulates the sexual energies and therefore abuses the spiritual energies in both humans and the planet. It's intended to create sexual predators and sexual deviants in the human race. Wow. Wow. That's very, very interesting. Very interesting. And just for a little background, here's some DNA anomalies that Lisa Renee said are created by the Anunnaki races. Hybridization with their races for human bodily exploration on Earth. Walk-ins, takeovers. Reproduction cycles in animals. Certain animals and plant species have been created in Anunnaki genetic laboratories. Mating, genitals, and experimentation crossing species. Ooh. Here's one right up my alley, ladies and gentlemen. The Christ crucifixion implants. What in the heck are the crucifixion implants? When our planetary was invaded and corrupted by reptilian controllers of the NAA, which is bad aliens, the planet and our race were impacted dramatically. They meant humanity was no longer free to create and evolve. Ooh. Wow. This is some great stuff. We're being recycled through continual reincarnation on the astral plane. I just did a show about that the other day. Wow. This is great stuff. All of these structures are mind control that siphon our life force. One of the largest lies promoted to divide our race is the war over false gods. The archetypical story of a Christ figure crucified is a mockery to further enslave humans into believing in a salvation model through a crucified Christ. Remember, folks, Jesus, slaves. See why I like Lisa Renee? She is on point. It represents a tortured human being, and by implication that we're all to be tortured, crucified, and implanted as our planet is invaded. These are the crucifixion implants. They're tangible control structures placed in the seventh dimensional logos in our bodies, in the seventh chakra. Ooh, that's interesting. The crown chakra. Its complex meridians and the entire left side or female side of our bodies. Ooh, that explains a lot, because the seventh chakra, your crown chakra, what was Christ wearing? A crown of thorns. So the crown of thorns is meant to remind you, to make sure that you stay in connection with Jesus so you can keep your crown chakra closed. Ooh, wow. That's really, really, really good. The crown of thorns on your seventh chakra. I need to write that one down. And I never have a pen when I'm trying to write something down. See, that's not true because I got one right now. Crown of thorns, seventh chakra. Oh, yeah, you'll hear more about that one. That's really good. That's really good. Powerful stuff, ladies and gentlemen. Powerful stuff. Powerful stuff. Rh negative blood factor This is just amazing. Rh negative blood factor, off-planet origin of the Christ family progenitors. So she's postulating that the origin of the anointing, the flow, the consecration came through Rh negative blood people. That's interesting. Don't know if it's true, don't know if it's false. Starseed people with a variety of E3 hybrid or future human influences. No personal actions of past karmic record in their blood. A little bit scary. Holds a planetary record, as in the histories. Holds a spiritualized blood chemistry that manifests higher resilience. Has more DNA at birth. Has more responsibility to collective human karmic records, clearing impersonal karmic records. Are targeted by reptilians as redemptive vehicles. Are targeted by reptilians to further their agenda through manipulation of their hybrid DNA. Rh negative individuals have a tendency to be monitored, tagged, or harassed or studied by ETs. Do you, as Rh negative people, feel like you're targeted individuals? More electrically sensitive and magnetically sensitive. Not aligned with the lunar magnetic influences. Are some of you out of phase, so to speak? They also take your eggs, says Jen Morris. Wow. Wow. This is really interesting stuff. And she says this, which is very interesting. This has been compiled, this information that we've shared, to answer more questions about Rh negative and is not designed for any comparative measures. However, for the greater understanding of the Rh negative challenges upon the individual. All blood types are potentially able to clear karmic issues through increased spiritual participation and development of consciousness. I agree with that 100%. All blood types can clear karmic issues. All blood types can gain increased spiritual participation and developing consciousness. There's no value in these matters, she says, but clues can be drawn into the purposes of the earthly incarnation and to be informed in strengthening one consciousness, which is also in strengthening one's blood. As we develop communication with our inner spirit, we clear our blood and the bloodline records, and this purifies our blood from karmic imprints. How amazing is that? Why do you think Christianity is so focused on the blood? They say the power of life is in the blood. Well, of course, the power of life is in the blood. And it makes so much sense that they'd be so focused on the blood. You have to take a blood sacrifice. You have to cover yourself in creepy Christ's blood. Think about that. The last time I saw somebody covered in blood was Carrie in the movies or Countess Bathory. And you want me to do that like it's a good thing? Ooh, I just don't know, ladies and gentlemen. I do know. And we'll go into that more with the talk today about Christian truthers, or coming up very, very soon. Do you have glandular and hormonal dysfunction as a Rh negative person? Do you have differences in your digestion? This is very nicely put, do you tend to consume a variety of substances? Interesting. Some of you do. Some of you do. Powerful, interesting. Are we really live? We are really live. Fascinating stuff. Rh negative. Are you Rh negative? Do you feel like your blood is karmic free? Do you feel like you're a higher spiritual? You have more tendencies towards spiritual things? Are you more contacted by ETs? Do you have greater amounts of DNA already activated? Are you a targeted individual? Are the reptilians after you? Are they trying to steal your eggs? Are you crucial to the Nephilim reversal grid? Wow. Very, very interesting stuff. Very, very interesting stuff. Whether you're Rh negative or Rh positive, I think you're crucial to what's going on in the world today, because I think you are the last generation of real humans. Whether we're Rh negative, Rh positive, We are the last generation of real humans. This is interesting. Many of you are saying that you shut down electronic devices when you get near to them. Very interesting. Very interesting. Whew. Powerful stuff. I don't get it. I don't understand it, but it certainly is fascinating. And it certainly is good to know and good to understand, and at least to have an idea of some of the typical tendencies or leanings, some of the things that seem to be true about those that have that blood, and to know that all of us, regardless of our blood type, we can grow, we can develop, we can be divine, we can be sovereign, we can be free. In fact, we are divine, we are sovereign, we are free. We are the anointed, we are in the flow, we are the consecrated. Don't outsource your divinity, your sovereignty, your freedom to their I am, because we are divine, sovereign, and free. Don't outsource to the fear and guilt control matrix. Retain your divinity, your sovereignty, and your freedom. Here's an interesting idea. Is plastic Jesus an Anunnaki? Ooh. Don't know how we can find anything else about that, but that's a fascinating idea. Well, ladies and gentlemen, there you go. My perspective on Lisa Renee's perspective on RH negative blood, the spiritual, the ascension aspects of it. And Leah says the only RH negative person in her family is a meth head. Wow. I'll bet that is one tormented person. Well, until next time, ladies and gentlemen, remember, these shows are brought to you by Mystech. These bracelets will restore you to the Schumann resonance. They will remove the dis-ease from your body. Thousands of testimonials to that. Everything from headaches to relief of severe spine injuries, sexual dysfunction, if you're worried about that. And also look on my website, jeffreydarty.com, at the Focused Life Force Energy. It'll beam a high consciousness field right into your home. And these things will all help you to ask questions, to question answers. And at the end of the day, they will help you to unindoctrinate yourself. That's what we're here for, to get you to think for yourself, to get you to decide for yourself. Because at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, as you like or share this video, or give it a thumbs down if you didn't like it, at the end of the day, only you can decide to unindoctrinate yourself.